On a remote patch of desert, there's a legend about a radio tower that has been silent for over 50 years. But what if silence is just a lie? What if an old ghost is trying to send a message? And what if that message is from a time that doesn't exist? This is the story of a broadcast that shouldn't be. This is the Uncharted Signal. In the mid-20th century, radio towers were the lifelines of a connected world. But this tower, near the Nevada border, was abandoned in the 1960s. For decades it stood as a monument to a past long gone. Until a team of amateur radio enthusiasts, scanning forgotten frequencies, picked up something impossible: a signal. Today we'll reveal the chilling broadcast, the baffling clues it contains, and the terrifying theories about its source. Today, we'll reveal the chilling broadcast, the baffling clues it contains, and the terrifying theories about its source. It was 2018 when a group of hobbyists known as the Frequency Hunters were on a mission. They weren't looking for ghosts or aliens. They were searching for vintage radio transmissions from the Cold War era. They had a specific location in mind, a remote, abandoned tower known as Tower 11. They set up their gear ready for a long night of listening. At first, all they heard was silence, just the usual static and faint, distant signals. But as the night wore on, their chief engineer noticed something strange on the spectrum analyzer. A small, faint spike where there should have been nothing. It was an anomaly they almost ignored, a ghost in the machine. But they decided to hone in on it, just to see what it was. As they amplified the signal, the static began to clear. What they heard was not a human voice, not music, but a series of distinct beeps, clicks, and a complex rhythmic pattern. The team immediately knew this wasn't random noise. It was a coded message, broadcast from the old tower. But that's when they noticed the impossible. The team's equipment could analyze the signal's age based on its decay and modulation. All signs pointed to the signal being over 90 years old. The problem? The radio technology needed to produce this type of broadcast wasn't invented until the 1960s, after the tower was abandoned. How could a message from the 1920s be broadcast with 1960s technology? The impossible timeline was just the beginning. The team went back to the tower to investigate. They found no working power source, no active equipment, not even a single antenna that could be broadcasting. The tower was just a shell, a rusted piece of metal. So, if the signal wasn't coming from the tower, where was it coming from? The team spent months analyzing the code. With the help of a cryptographer, they began to decipher it. What they found was even more shocking. The message wasn't random. It contained precise mathematical equations and astronomical data points. It described a series of celestial events. The cryptographer finally made a breakthrough. The celestial events described in the code corresponded perfectly to a series of astronomical alignments that occurred in the 1920s, the exact era the signal's content was from. It was a coded observation log, but the team still couldn't answer the big question: who was broadcasting this from the past? The team released their findings online. The story went viral, attracting the attention of both scientists and conspiracy theorists. For the scientists, it was an impossibility. For others, it was a terrifying sign. The signal, they argued, was not just a message, but a warning. So, what's the official explanation? Scientists argue it's a rare 1 in a billion atmospheric phenomenon, a time echo where a faint signal from the 1920s was trapped and then released decades later by some bizarre weather event. It's a plausible theory, but it doesn't explain everything. The problem with this theory, it doesn't account for the 1960s broadcast technology found in the signal. How could a 1920s broadcast contain technology that didn't exist? Scientists have no answer. For them, it remains an unsolved anomaly. But for others, it points to a far more chilling conclusion. For them, it remains an unsolved anomaly. This is where the story gets really interesting. The ghost broadcast theory suggests the signal isn't from the past, but from a parallel dimension. A version of our world where the technology was invented earlier, and a chilling event is being broadcast to us. A message from across the veil. Proponents of this theory point to a strange, almost imperceptible low-frequency sound embedded within the broadcast. When listened to with special equipment, some claim it sounds like a faint, distorted human voice repeating a single, cryptic phrase. Is it a distress call from another world or a warning? Then there's the last and most plausible theory. What if the signal isn't from the past, or another dimension? What if it's a forgotten military experiment, a project from the Cold War era, designed to test time-based communication? It was abandoned, but the signal found a way to activate itself decades later. It was abandoned, but the signal found a way to activate itself decades later. But even this theory has holes. Why would they leave the project behind if it was a success? And what could trigger it to broadcast decades later? A simple short circuit, or something far more mysterious? The investigators were left with more questions than answers. The signal's true origin remained a total enigma. Here at the Uncharted Path, we've looked at all the possibilities. And we've decided that sometimes, the most logical explanation isn't the most truthful. We believe the signal is a mystery that points to a simple truth. Our understanding of time and communication is far more limited than we think. The signal is a road we've yet to travel. The investigators never solved the mystery. The signal continues to broadcast to this day, a chilling, rhythmic pulse of a message we cannot fully comprehend. What do you think happened? Is it a scientific fluke, a ghost, or a warning from a forgotten government project? We want to hear your theories. Leave your thoughts on the signal in the comments below. What do you think the coded message means? Is there a piece of the puzzle that we missed? Join the conversation and help us solve this real-life mystery. If you're fascinated by mysteries that defy logic and stories that push the boundaries of reality, then you've found your home. We're here to explore the roads less traveled. Be sure to subscribe to The Uncharted Path and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next video. We're just getting started. There are so many more uncharted paths to explore, and we'll need your help to uncover their secrets. From lost civilizations to unexplained phenomena, we're on a journey together. Remember, the world is full of questions with no easy answers. The beauty is in the search. We may never know the truth behind the uncharted signal, but its existence reminds us that the greatest mysteries aren't in books or movies. They're all around us. Did you enjoy this video? If so, please give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who loves a good mystery. Your support helps us continue to produce content like this. We are the Uncharted Path, and our mission is to journey into the unknown. Join our community of explorers and help us uncover the secrets that lie just beyond the horizon. And the signal? It continues to broadcast. It's still there, waiting for someone to finally crack the code. You can find links to the audio file and our sources in the description below. Thank you for joining us on this journey. We'll be back soon with another case from the Uncharted Path. Until then, keep looking for the signs. A quick recap of the video: the impossible signal, the 1920s data, the abandoned tower, the lack of a plausible explanation. Some mysteries are best left unsolved, but this one feels different. This feels like a message waiting to be understood. We're on the brink of a new discovery. So let's solve this mystery together. Tell us what you think. Tell us what you think. Thank you for watching.